Assassin's Creed Titans. We are starting off with this relatively unknown entry, not because it lacks the excitement of any of the future entries, because let's be honest, this entry sounds like it would be a fantastic game. No, we are starting off with this entry because it has the least amount of evidence to prove that it was actually in development. Details about this exciting Assassin's Creed spin-off were originally posted anonymously on 4chan by someone who claimed that they were on the development team. It was later featured on r/gaming leaks and rumors. The leaker claimed the game was internally referred to as Project Titans, and it would have been renamed with the full release. This Assassin's Creed spin-off would be more similar to games like Dauntless and Monster Hunter, where players would hunt and kill, quote, great beasts around the map while fighting through lesser creatures during their adventures. They claimed that all assets were created 100% from scratch and that they had developed the intro and about 8 hunting missions before they were told to stop, presumably by Ubisoft, who at the time were cancelling games left, right and centre. The post went into some pretty substantial detail on the story as well, explaining that the main character was in training at Abstergo, being trained on an experimental version of the Animus that could now create hypothetical historical scenarios, as well as the traditional real historical scenarios. The game was an MMORPG with all active players being stuck inside the Animus and following a path of missions to find their escape. The detailed introduction, as well as the explanations on how the main hub, the villa, would behave, makes this an easy concept to visualize. But was this a developer sharing their knowledge or a random troll getting creative? We may never know. Assassin's Creed, The Invisible Imam, and The Eye of Heaven. Books? Ew! I know, how boring. If you're like me, you might pick up one book every 6 months, read half of it, and discover it's also a movie, watch the movie, and then display the book proudly as if you had conquered more than half the pages. But if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, you may have found yourself lining up excitedly to get your hands on the first entry of this intended trilogy titled Assassin's Creed, The Invisible Imam. Planned for release back in 2007 on the 1st of November, this first book written by New York Times bestseller Stephen Barnes was to follow the story of Abdul Wahid, a man born to a Muslim father and Christian mother who launches a quest for vengeance against the marauders who murdered his parents and destroyed their peaceful village. Awesome. That is, until he comes to the attention of the Hashashin, a mysterious cadre of warriors that offers him the chance to combat evil as the servant of a higher power. This book, as well as the follow-up titled Assassin's Creed The Eye of Heaven and the unknown third entry, were ultimately cancelled despite Markel Palmieri of Pocket Books, the publisher, showing high interest in this trilogy. Extensive planning had already gone into these novels, with the second book, The Eye of Heaven, already having a rough plot, including Abdul continuing his quest for vengeance with a new antagonist and a broader, modern-day story arc. Even though the books were cancelled and never saw their 2007 release, a similar story titled The Invisible Imam was included in Stephen Barnes' 2010 book Assassin and Other Stories. Assassin's Creed Da Vinci's Workshop. With the highly anticipated VR title for Assassin's Creed Nexus VR being announced just 3 months ago, it's easy to follow a development timeline from that back to the unreleased Assassin's Creed Da Vinci's Workshop. This entry is slightly different to other entries on this list, as it wasn't technically cancelled, as plans for commercial release were never assured by Ubisoft. Da Vinci's Workshop was eventually revealed to be a student VR project developed as a collaboration between Ubisoft and NHTV, a university located in the Netherlands. The game itself was quoted by one of the developers as being a co-op escape room where players must solve numerous puzzles inside Leonardo's workshop to recover a piece of Eden. Despite Ubisoft being one of the biggest developers in the world to actually be investing in virtual reality, at the time they had no Assassin's Creed virtual reality experiences. It was made clear by project lead Tim Van Can that the game would likely not be seen by civilian eyes when he was quoted saying, "There are currently no plans for commercial release of the game or any kind of distribution." Some people were optimistic that even without a commercial release, they may still have caught glimpses of this project at trade shows and events, but 6 years on, that's a dream worth letting go of. It was also believed that this was possibly just Ubisoft testing the waters to carry one of their biggest franchises to virtual reality. With a VR title set for release, it's hard not to believe Da Vinci's workshop was a stepping stone to Nexus VR. Assassin's Creed movie sequel. As one of the biggest video game franchises of all time, and with a story that is so easily malleable and bendable to fit any medium, it's no surprise that Assassin's Creed saw a film adaptation. The 2016 movie adaptation of Assassin's Creed was intended by 20th Century Fox to kickstart a long-lasting film franchise. However, the anticipated sequel, Assassin's Creed 2, never came to fruition. The initial film loosely adapted the series' first game, featuring a futuristic setting and the journey of Cal, portrayed by Michael Fassbender, as he time-traveled to the 15th century to extract ancestral information. This process, as we all know, involved tapping into his genetic memory stored in his DNA, enabling him to acquire skills in combat, assassination, and parkour. Unfortunately, the Assassin's Creed movie faced various issues, including a convoluted plot leading to unfavorable reviews and a mere 18% Rotten Tomatoes score. Although the film generated $240 million globally at the box office, this figure was considered disappointing, especially given the movie's $125 million budget. Nevertheless, 20th Century Fox remained committed to the franchise, even contemplating the possibility of 2 sequels and exploring the concept of setting Assassin's Creed 2 during the Cold War. Despite the potential for improvement over the original film, Assassin's Creed 2 ultimately failed to materialize. The reasons for cancelling the sequel were obviously clear, but it wasn't until Disney acquired Fox in 2019 that these clear reasons were put into action, and Disney cancelled the 2 planned Assassin's Creed sequels, as well as dozens of Fox projects. From Super Mario Bros. In 1993 to Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time in 2010, Disney has never had great success with video game adaptations, so it was no surprise that they took the strong stance to axe these ongoing projects. Assassin's Creed Utopia. Assassin's Creed Utopia was a mobile game developed by Ubisoft in conjunction with Kabam that was planned for release on all Android and Apple iOS devices. But based on everything else you've heard on this list, we don't need to tell you what happened. It was assassinated. Utopia got far enough into development for players to see concept art, test footage screenshots, and learn some early specifics, including the setting. Utopia was set to be spread across hundreds of years, beginning with European colonization in America, and specifically the establishment of the Roanoke colony in the following 150 years, leading to their historically recorded failure. It would then take place in the same time period as the then upcoming Assassin's Creed 3, and tell tales from the American Revolution, although game producers confirmed that there would be no crossover between the 2 games. Select testers were given a look and a chance to experience their playable demo in 2012, and it was expected for a winter release in the same year. The winter release was confirmed, but by February 2013, at the end of winter, nothing had been said, released, or explained by Ubisoft. In November 2013, almost a full year after the game's original intended release, Ubisoft Netherlands officially informed Dutch video game website Gamer.nl that the game was cancelled. But don't worry, they elaborated and explained why. I'm just kidding, they said f*** all. Thanks a lot, Ubisoft. May as well throw my phone in the bin now. Assassin's Creed Lost Legacy. The legacy we never knew we'd lose. This entry was officially announced and officially disappeared as quick as we could say, requiescat in pace. Assassin's Creed Lost Legacy, a game for the Nintendo 3DS, was being developed fully and totally by Ubisoft. Its initial announcement took place at the 2010 E3 convention, where it was revealed alongside Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. However, there has been little information about it ever since. The game's storyline revolved around Ezio Auditore, who, following the events of Brotherhood, embarked on a journey to the village of Masyaf in search of more knowledge about Altair, the central character from the original Assassin's Creed. Fans quickly noticed the striking similarity between this plot and that of Assassin's Creed Revelations, the subsequent installment after Brotherhood. Ubisoft had initially intended to continue Ezio's story with Lost Legacy, but eventually chose to merge it with Revelations. In an interview with Darby McDevitt, the writer for Revelations, the cancellation of Lost Legacy was confirmed. He said, "You may have heard of the game Lost Legacy for the 3DS. It was announced, but that kind of morphed into this idea. The story that was announced about Lost Legacy was that Ezio goes to Masyaf to investigate the Holy Land. Internally, the game was cancelled in September 2010, but its cancellation was not officially confirmed to the public until July 2011. No screenshots or videos were ever released, except for the logo. Since it technically saw the light of day as a different game, Revelations, any work on Lost Legacy has likely been erased or abandoned." Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from MojoPlays and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of our latest videos.